Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome into a first look early access preview for The Wandering Village. This is an amazing little game made by Stray Fawn Studio, an indie development team out of Sweden, and they have done an absolutely phenomenal job creating a lovely little survival city builder world for us to immerse ourselves in. So let's jump in and get started with the new game and talk about the different difficulty levels. There is Novice, Adept, and Veteran. Obviously, Novice is recommended for first-time players. It's really easy. It really holds your hand, and you don't have to worry about a lot. If you've never played a survival city builder game before, this is probably where you want to start. If you are familiar with the mechanics of survival type games, then Adept is honestly not too bad, and it will get you into the game pretty easily without being too difficult. Then there is, of course, Veteran, which cranks things up a few notches and makes it very interesting. Under Adept and Veteran, there are some difficulty settings you can customize. Villagers, you can turn on Villagers do not die, Onbu does not die, or no manual saving allowed. So basically an Iron Man type deal. So with that, we're going to actually start on Adept, and we're going to jump in and take a look at the UI and talk about some of the basic mechanics and kind of get our first basic camp set up on the back of our Onbu. So let's jump in here. We're going to give this a name. This is going to be Take EA Onbu right here. That way I know what in the world this is. So let's jump in here and let's get ourselves started.
Driven from our homes by the toxic spores, we kept wandering, looking for shelter. But not in our wildest dreams did we imagine what we would find.
Alright guys, welcome into the game. So, when you first start, you're going to be presented with a handful of villagers. We have 16 of them. Now, I recommend going ahead and hitting pause. I've done that by hitting the space bar, but you can also hit the pause button right here, and it tells you what the hotkey for that is. So we're going to go ahead and pause, and we're going to take a look at our surroundings and what's going on. Now, this is our build area right here. The build areas do change. Now, the shape of the land does not change. However, the distribution of resources and stuff like that, and like the dirt areas and the grassy areas, that does change on each playthrough. So it's a little different each time you play. The resources you have on the map are stones that contain 3 stones each. There are boulders that contain 200, but you need a quarry for those. Then there are the Onbu spikes. These can be harvested for 30 stone, but it reduces the Onbu's trust in you. And trust is something very important that we'll talk about here in a little bit. Also on the, I'll see if I see any at the moment. Not seeing any right now, but sometimes on the dirt areas, you'll find also mushrooms that will grow. Mushrooms are a food for the Onbu. So, and on the grassy areas, we have your basic trees and stuff like that, more Onbu spikes. Trees can be harvested for 3 each. There are giant trunks that can be mined or harvested by a sawmill once you research that for 200. There are sapling trees that will grow into regular big trees. They can be harvested, but they won't give you any material until they are a full-grown tree. And then there are berry bushes that have about 4 each. These do replenish themselves, and they can regrow in different areas. Now, I'm not seeing any at the moment, but there is another type of tree called a mother tree. These trees differentiate themselves from your regular trees because they are orange, and when you select them, it will say that it is a mother tree. Mother trees are unique in that they will spawn saplings around them, so you don't want to cut those down. You want to leave those up and running. Now, on the UI side of things, we have our resource counter up here. Every resource you currently have in your settlement will be listed up here. Right now, we only have berries, wood, stone, and water, but the more resources you get, things like beets or corn, planks, slabs, herbs, and so on will all be listed up here. That way you know exactly how much you have in your settlement. Over on the right-hand side, we kind of have our infographics and everything. We have a research panel, which we'll get into when we unlock research. how much food you have, and this does have a really awesome breakdown of how much food you have split between raw food, processed food, and how much consumption and production you have in the last 24 hours to show you if you have a surplus or a deficit of food for your people. Your populations tab right here is an awesome population breakdown showing your settlement level. Right now we are at just basic, how many people we have, how much housing we have. We have productivity. Baseline productivity is 100%. Right now we have a minus 25% modifier because we don't have any basic housing. Once our basic housing is fulfilled for all of our people, we'll get that 25% back, and it will go up to 100%. This does scale, so if we had 8 out of 16, we would get, I believe it rounds up to like 13%. So this does fluctuate as you meet this. As your population level increases and you go up to different population level types, more you unlock more things that the people need to further increase your productivity beyond 100%. Then down here, you just have a breakdown of employed, unemployed, and the different types of workers for your city down here. Let's see, pause, play, speeds, all that kind of good stuff. Then there is an Elder's Notebook. This is essentially an in-game wiki, just a basic in-game wiki, teaching you all the different stuff about the game and just some basic information about everything in the game. It's a great resource if you're confused about something or need to know. You can go to the Elder's Notebook. The main menu button right there, blah, blah, blah. Now, the next three are pretty important. You have your temperature, humidity, and toxicity ratings. There are several different biomes in the game, and different biomes have different temperatures, different humidity levels, and different toxicities for ground and air. Temperature is really important because it affects crops grown on farms. So different crops need different types of temperatures in order to grow. You'll be switching your crops around depending on what biome you're going into. Humidity level is for your air wells. Air wells are how you get water, and biomes such as deserts have absolutely no humidity, so you get no water from your air wells, while jungle regions have extremely high humidity, and you get a bonus to how much water you're getting. Toxicity varies. It just depends on the zone. And when we go out to the world map, we'll kind of take a look around and I kind of explain a little bit more about how you can tell what sort of toxicity you're getting into. Over here are some stats about your Onbu stuff. You have his current heart rate. You have his poison level, which is affected by the toxicity levels of the ground or air. How hungry Big Boy is, and how tired he is. As you can see right now, he is sleeping. And this is his health bar, so he can take damage and he can be hurt. This is your time of day. It is currently 11 a.m. on day 0. And then we have the different levels of view, and we'll check those out here in just a second. Down at the bottom left, we have a notification. Basically, anything that happens in your city, whether it be related to the Onbu, events on the map, things that are about to happen, any buildings, anything like that shows up down here. Then across the bottom, we have our build menus and different tools. We have a harvesting tool, which lets you harvest resources on the map manually with your workers. We have like remove harvest. You can tell it to only harvest full-grown objects. Harvest everything or harvest specific types of materials. Priority tool, which is awesome. That way, if you have, let's say I want to harvest all of this stone over here and I want them to harvest the stone before they do anything else, I can set this to highest priority and I just drag over top of it and it will set that to a high priority. We have the build menu, which we'll take a look at here in just a second. And then we have a destruction tool, basically the same thing as the harvest tool. It just, has remove deconstruction or a specific thing you want to deconstruct. And then we have the research tree yet again. So the build menu, obviously, it's where your buildings are. We have the village tab, dirt roads, housing, the worker post, which is really important later on. It lets you specialize what type of people you have doing different types of things, such as transporters, harvesters, builders, or just general workers, and they get a speed boost, which is very helpful. Then there is the research building itself. We have a storage tab, that gives you a basic storage right here for just 30 of materials, a water tank to store water in, and then a pantry for food. Under the food tab, we have the air well, which extracts water from the air, a berry gatherer to gather the various berries on the map, and then a farm, which grows different types of crops. Raw resources, we don't have anything researched yet, so nothing under there. Under refined resources, we have carpenters, which takes wood and turns them into planks, which are a more advanced building material type. Stonecutters take stone and make stone slabs. Under Onbu food, we have the mycologist that grows mushrooms, because Big Boy likes to eat mushrooms. Onbu interactions, we don't have anything under here research, but these would be things such as the Hornblower, the Doctor, and the feeding catapults. Yes, you feed the Onbu by launching food into his mouth. It's really cool, actually. Under the poison tab, we have the herbalist, and we'll have doctors and stuff underneath here. And then under exploration will be things such as a scavenging post, which you can use to send people out into the world, which we're going to take a look at now. So, to get out to the world, I pressed 6. You can also press the world map button, or with the middle scroll, with the scroll wheel on your mouse, you can scroll in and out, and we'll check that here in a second too. So this is the world map. Your Onbu follows the path. The path is where your Onbu is going. There are crossroads, and this is what a crossroads sign looks like. And when you come to a crossroads somewhere, if your Onbu trusts you enough, you can tell it to go a specific direction. If he does not trust you, he will generally go the opposite direction of how you wanted him to go. So you can kind of cheese it a little bit, because if you see a direction you want him to go, but you know he doesn't trust you much, tell him to go the opposite direction of where you want him to go, and he'll generally go the other way. So kind of a little fun thing you can do. Now on the world map are all kinds of little things. Things such as mines, forests, quarries. There are also ruined settlements, inhabited settlements, dune mines, ancient shrines, poison forests. There are oases in the deserts. There's all sorts of things you can go out and send scavengers to go and explore and get various materials from. Mines typically have iron ore. Forests have wood or mushrooms. Quarries will have stone slabs, various things like that. You can also sometimes find survivors in these places. Ruined settlements will have food in them, and so on. So the world map is ever changing, and then there are also the biomes. You can tell what kind of biome you're going into by looking at the terrain. We are in sort of a, I think this is a grassland biome. I think it's what it's called. I think this is a grassland biome. The pink denotes a mountain terrain. So these are mountainous areas. Light brown is a desert biome, and then dark green is a jungle. And then there's also toxic areas, which you'll know you're going into a toxic area because you'll see lots of blue mushrooms with clouds around them. And they just look toxic. So you know you're going into a toxic area. So the world map is ever changing. It's procedurally generated as far as I can tell. And I've never seen it the same twice. So you never know what you're going to run into. It's pretty cool so far. So again, with that scroll wheel, we're going to scroll in to our Onbu. There he is. There's Big Boy himself sitting there having a nap. And as you can see your settlement on top of the Onbu right here. That is right. We are building our city on the back of this giant rock monster. It's really awesome. So with that all out of the way and all the explanation of what's going on the screen and everything you need to know, let's get in there and at least get our basic settlement set up and get some research going and get all of our essentials set up and running and talk about a few things you need to do to get yourself started. All right, and we're all ready to get started on building stuff. Now, the tutorial wants you to go ahead and start building housing. But I'm going to say go ahead and first of all build a research building. You want to get that research running right off the bat. So we're going to plop down a research post somewhere. And now where you build stuff is kind of important because there is no way to relocate buildings in the game. So you do have to kind of look at your surroundings and consider where you might be wanting to build stuff, especially when it comes to your berries and stuff. because berries are going to be pretty important early on, and you're going to want to build somewhere kind of center on the Onbu for everything. So there's a bunch of berries there. There's a bunch right over here in a nice clearing area right there. Oh, look, I see a baby mother tree right there. By the way, yes, you can scroll down to what I like to call cardboard pop-up view. Yeah, it's not just isometric. It's cardboard pop-up isometric, and I think this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in the game. I love being able to get down to this view right here. Anyways, there's a young mother tree right there, so never cut those down. All right, so I am going to actually place our initial research building, I think, right here. We're going to unpause the game. I'm going to speed this up to 2 times, and I'm going to let them go ahead and get that research building going. That's going to take 2 people to work there, but it's going to get our research off the ground immediately. All right, now I'm going to start building some homes because I want to do away with that 25% productivity right there. So we're going to want 8 homes to get started. If you hold down shift, you can place multiple buildings at the same time. Now, your hut, your tents, I really wouldn't worry about where you put them immediately. Just kind of put them somewhere and just line them up. You're going to not keep these throughout the whole game, so I wouldn't be concerned with where you put them just yet. All right, the research post is built, and it gives you a pop-up giving you 2 different choices of stuff that you can research. You can also click Open Research Tree to see everything that you can research. Now, this is pretty important right here, so take note of this. Your first research, you have 2 different paths that I recommend taking. And which one you want to take is up to you, but both of them offered some really good benefits. The first one is under the Village tab. What you want to research first on the Village tab is the kitchen and then the Scavenger Hut. The Scavenger Hut is going to allow you to have scavengers that you can send out to those locations on the world map that we took a look at. And that's going to start getting you a lot of good continuous resources coming in. It's really, really awesome, and it gives you a lot of good materials. You can find extra nomads to join your city, all kinds of stuff. So getting the kitchen, which the kitchen is also really good because it turns raw food into processed food, which your people will enjoy eating more than just a raw beet. And God, who wouldn't enjoy at least a processed beet as opposed to a raw beet? So the kitchen is really, really important. And the scavenger hunt is also very important. On the flip side, under the Onbu tab, is the pet Onbu. Now, this might seem a little odd, like, okay, well, what's so good about pet Onbu? This is the easiest way to continuously increase Onbu's trust in you. Every 15 minutes, and that is affected by the speed that you have the game set, so it's not 15 real-time minutes unless you're on 1 times speed. It does speed up with the game speed. Increasing Onbu's trust in you allows you to balance harvesting those spikes on his back and doing some other stuff that you can do later, including drilling into him to extract his blood and gallbladder, bile, and stuff like that. But keeping his trust high lets you control Onbu and tell him where you want him to go, when you want him to stop moving because maybe some nomads are about to cross your path and you want to pick them up. Being able to control Onbu is really, really important. So getting his trust in you up is really crucial. So both of these paths offer very good benefits. Which one you start with is going to be up to you. For me, I'm going to start with a scavenger hunt on this one right here. So we're going to start with that kitchen and we're going to get that researched. 2 people will go in there, they turn into researchers, and they will start researching that. Now, you can build a second research building if you want. However, a subsequent research building only increases your efficiency for research by an additional 40%. So at the beginning of the game, when the number of villagers you have is very limited, I don't recommend building another one. It's not like you're going to get 200% efficiency. You're only getting an additional 40%. So it doesn't really benefit it that much, and you need those extra workers for more crucial jobs right now. So stick with 1 research building for right now until you have extra people, and just go with that. All right, as you can see, we are building our huts, but there are some little red flags. That little red flag is it means something is not right. So this tells us that there's not enough resources. I don't have enough wood anymore. So I'm going to tell my people to go and start harvesting the trees. I'm telling them to harvest only the trees that are full grown. I selected that. I thought about maybe not doing it, but I'm just going to leave it. Harvesting the Onbu spikes, I mean, it does decrease his trust in you, but the stone is really, really important. So don't be afraid to harvest his spikes. You're going to be able to get his trust in you up later on. So it's perfectly fine to go ahead and harvest those. All right, so we've queued up a bunch of stuff to be harvested, and we're going to let them go and get that started. And we're going to build these. I'm also going to go ahead and queue up a berry gatherer. So let's pause this and take a look at the berry gatherer. The berry gatherer wants to be as close to as many berries as possible. So you want to find a good spot that has a really high berry rating on it. There's a 71%. Yeah, there's a good 71% berry gatherer, so that's actually really good. I'm going to go ahead and plop him right there. That is a little ways away, but it's okay. It's fine. Don't worry about it. We're going to be setting up some storage for all of that in between. We're also going to go ahead and queue up an air well. Air wells don't take any workers. It just naturally produces water. Now, I want my air well somewhere where there's going to be some nice open area because I'm going to want it near a farm. So I'm going to put that air well right over here to get started. Then we're going to go under our storage, and I'm going to put a water tank right next door to it. That way, when this water tanks hold water, obviously, and as the air well fills up with water, they will transfer that over to the water tank for later storage. So we're going to build that right over there. I'm also going to queue up a pantry. Pantries obviously store food. I want that pantry somewhere near town, though. So I think we're going to put the pantry maybe like right about in here. It's a little ways away from this, but I think that will be okay. So I'm going to put that pantry right here. We still just need to queue up some more stuff, so I'm going to queue up a few more of these. And I'm going to kind of let this run for a few and let everything get built. All right, so we have some basic stuff built. We have our berry gatherer built up here. It starts with 2 workers. Just leave it on 2 for right now. It's that's perfectly fine. You don't need to add any more to it. Remember, we are on a limited number of workers. We only have 10 available still at the moment, so we don't want to overexpand ourselves. We do have the water tank and we have the air well. Now the air well, as you can see, we have 150% productivity because we have a high humidity. And it is producing 3 water every time it cycles through. And as you can see, it's pretty quick. So we got 24 to 45 out in there, and we have 20 in storage. I've also built a farm. So farms are something that I'm still trying to kind of get, trying to completely grasp how they work. But it seems, again, I'm not totally sure on this, that one worker can handle around roughly about 5 or so plots. So the way to build your farm is you just simply select add plot right here, and you just drag how many you want. We start with 2 people, but I'm going to add a 3rd, so I'm going to drag this out right over here with 3 plot tiles, and I'm going to add 1 more worker just by clicking add worker, and someone will come over there. These 2 right here are toggles. This, when they're up like this, that means they will do both of those things, plant and harvest. If you want them to not harvest for whatever reason, you can turn it off by selecting it, and then you can see it kind of gets grayed out. That means they won't harvest. Not sure why you would do that, but it's there. And then right now, all we can plant are beets. Later on, there are different crops that you can see under the research tab right here. There is cactus. Cactus is an alternative water source for hot climates. There are tomatoes, corn, and wheat. So those are your 5 different things you can grow. Beets, and then these right here. Every crop has a particular temperature range that it wants to grow in. Beets are pretty good because they can handle some decent temperatures. If it is gray or red, they will not grow. If it is in the yellow, they will grow, but they will grow at 60% growth rate. So they'll slow down. They'll still grow, but they'll grow slower. Later on, you'll get access to compost, and you can add compost to increase the fertility, increase the amount of harvest from each one. And then there is an inventory. Each building can hold 20 within the inventory of its own building, and then the rest gets sent to storage buildings. So under the pantry is a building that I kind of hope gets a little attention from the devs, because right now it doesn't really feel good. A pantry can only hold up 50 of each thing. It can hold 50 of all of these, but only 50 of each one. It's not like it has like 5,000 storage and then, it fills up on like 5,000 wheat. It will only hold 50 wheat, and that is it. You can disable storage for some stuff, but again, since it's not like a bulk storage that you are deciding, what can be stored here, I don't really see the point in turning anything off, just because it doesn't really matter. The only reason I think maybe you would want that is if you had like a wheat farm, let's just say way over here, and you didn't want them bringing wheat over here, but then at the same time, if this storage is full of 50 wheat and this one can hold 50 wheat, why not just leave it turned on? It's a system that I think needs a little attention because it doesn't feel good right now. There is no larger food storage, and you start filling up on food really quick. And you end up with tons of pantries everywhere to hold all of the food. It's a little crazy. So that is how a pantry works. Now, there is one other storage building I have not built yet, and that is the material storage. Now, a material storage is very small. It's a very small building, and it only holds 30 of each type of material in it. I typically tend to only build like one of these, just because they only hold 30, because I like to get the warehouse unlocked ASAP. The warehouse is unlocked after you get the scavenger hut, and it lets you store 250 of each type of material. So it's a lot better. So I only build usually one material storage just to hold like some basic materials nearby, and the rest of it I just let it sit on the ground until I have a warehouse. And again, some of it will stay in the buildings and stuff themselves. So there is some of our basic stuff. I do have trees and stuff queued up. Oh, look, our large mother tree is it's still growing. We don't want to harvest it. Make sure we don't harvest it. And I just noticed Onbu is off for a walk. So there he goes. He is walking now. Look at him go. Look at him go. We go out to the main menu, the world map here. You can see where he is. You can see him going. It looks like a little chess piece, just slowly moving down the road. All right, our research is done. So again, it gives you a choice of two different things, or you can choose something else, but I know I want the scavenger hut, so I'm going to go ahead and commit to that. I'm going to have them go start researching the scavenger hut. So that has unlocked the kitchen. So let's get that kitchen down and take a look at that. I'm going to put that right next to this pantry right here. We're going to turn it on. We're going to let that go. And I'm also going to build a worker post. Worker posts are fairly important. Not as important as some stuff, but they are pretty important still. We're going to pop that worker post right there. We'll talk about it after I have it built. I'm also going to go ahead and, again, just queue up some more stuff. I'm going to queue up a couple more of those Onbu spikes. Some more of these trees right here. Then I'm going to use that prioritization tool because I want them to hurry up and get some of this right here done. Again, I'm just dragging over this stuff right here, and they go and they gather it instantly, and they'll take that over to these areas. All right. As you can see right here in the lower left-hand corner, it has told us that we have entered a mountains biome. As you can see, it is in the pink, and he is moving into that mountainous area. Now, a few things have changed since we're in this mountain area now. The temperature has dropped to cold. The humidity is just normal. There is still no air or ground toxicity, so that is fine. That has changed our production on the air well down from 150% to just 100%. And now our beets have slowed to 60% growth rate because we are in the cold weather now. So we're being a little bit slower on our beet production. So something to keep an eye out for. Now, I placed this kitchen, but it's not building. That's because we need planks and slabs. So those are found under the resource, the refined resource. We need to build a stonecutter and a carpenter. I'm going to come right over here and build those. Stonecutter and a carpenter right there. Now, I'm going to let our people kind of get that going. They're going to remove this berry bush that's in the way and then bring those materials over and get those started for us. All right, the worker post is built, so let's talk about this thing real quick. The worker post lets you assign up to 5 people, which we're going to go ahead and assign all 5. As you can have them focus on stuff. You can have general workers, builders, carriers, or harvesters. Now, general workers will do the 3 other jobs and split their time up between it, okay? Builders are, obviously they build stuff. They go and they build the roads that I've just laid out, or the buildings like that. The carriers will go and pick up resources and goods from different buildings. They will pick up the water from the air well and take it over to the water tank. They will pick up food that is in the inventory of the farm and take it to the pantry and so on. And last but not least are the harvesters. They are the ones that are going around and they will be harvesting anything that you select for manual harvesting on the map. For right now, especially since, again, you're kind of limited on how many people you have, it's better just to put everybody as a general worker. This right here ensures that you will always have 5 people able to do all of the different tasks around your town. Anybody that is not employed will also go and do those jobs. But general workers are specifically for that. That way you will always have at least 5 people going around doing the different tasks that your people need. Now, if we look here on the map, we can see that we're about to come up on a group of nomads. We're about to run right smack dab into them. I honestly can't remember if you can see them on the map right here. A lot of times you can see stuff on the map. But we are about to run into some nomads, and we'll get a little pop-up here in a second. All right, there it is. So we got a pop-up right here. We click on that and it tells us a group of nomads is looking for a new home. We can send them away, postpone the decision, which you don't want to do because Onbu is going to keep on trucking. So let's go ahead and commit to picking them up. We have picked up 2 healthy people, specifically healthy people because you can get people who are hungry or injured, poisoned, stuff like that. So we got 2 new healthy people. That also means if we look under our people right here, now our productivity has dropped by 3% because we don't have enough homes. So we're going to queue up another house. All right, our stonecutter and stonecutter and carpenter are done. It auto assigns 1 worker to each, and right now that's really about all I want to do. I only have 4 unemployed people left, and I have other buildings I'm going to be making here shortly. So this is kind of all I want to do. Every additional person you have put in here increases the productivity time. So more people just means faster planks and faster slabs. But again, early game, limited number of people, you don't want to do much. All right, so our research has been completed for the scavenger hut. So I want to go ahead and move over to that hornblower and start going down the other tree to get to the pet Onbu. So let's commit to the hornblower and let's talk about exploration now. So the scavenger hut is a building that requires planks and slabs as well. Our kitchen also needs some planks and slabs. What I'm going to do for the moment is disable the kitchen. I don't want that being built. I would rather my material go to the scavenger hut. Your scavenger hut has to be built on the edge of the Onbu. So we're going to put one right here, and I'm definitely going to tell it to prioritize that. And now we just kind of sit back and wait for that thing to be constructed. I want to jump out here because we have found a unique area on the path for Onbu. He has found an Onbu sleeping spot right here. It looks like these pink puffy, fluffy things. If we zoom in right here, we can see that Onbu really seems to like these pink fluffy things, and he's gonna lay down, and he's gonna take a little nap right here. Oh, isn't it soft and comfy, big boy? Oh, look at him. He's like, oh, this is heaven. So he's gonna sit there and chill out. He also took a poop, apparently. Yes, Onbu poops, and you need it. You have to collect his poop. Yep, he's yawning, and he's gonna go to sleep. And he'll sleep until that meter is at 0. All right, so Onbu has seen a crossroad coming up in the distance right here. So there is the problem right here. Now, the thing is, right now, I know that Onbu doesn't trust me. There is no indicator for his trust level for you, so you kind of just have to, guess. But I can tell you right now, if I scroll back, yeah, he's very grumbly. Anytime it says he grumbles, he's not happy. He's not happy about different stuff. I would like for him to go this way because there are some nomads. But I cannot tell him to do anything because I don't have the Hornblower. So this is where I was talking about the choice between either going the Scavenger Hut route or the Hornblower route. So it's a pick and choose. I decided to go the Scavenger Hut route because I wanted to get those scavenging things going first. If I went the Hornblower route, I could probably have that Hornblower up and running by now and be able to tell him, try to dictate which way he goes. So right now, I'm kind of at the mercy of his whims. All right, so the Scavenger Hut has been built. It does require a full staff. You have to always have 2 people working in it. If we open the map, we can now send some people off to do some things. Now, I would love to get this ruined settlement, but I doubt we'll be able to go and do it in time before he wanders away too far. It is 19 hours to get there. So instead, I think we're just going to skip that, and we're going to kind of stay over this way. Actually, you know what? I'm going to come over. This 12 hours, 12 hours. It's the same difference. I think I'm going to chance it. I'm going to chance sending them to the ruined settlement. So we're going to form an expedition party, and we're going to see if we can't get back there and see about that settlement. And we're going to hope that Onbu goes the way that I want him to go. Meanwhile, we have turned the kitchen back on, and we are just waiting for building material to get into it. Okay, so we just had a small disaster. Onbu is really upset with us because we've been tearing out his spikes, and he shook himself and tore down a bunch of our buildings. So all of these buildings are having to be rebuilt. All of our tents, our research building, our air well, the water tank was also destroyed. So you have to be careful about how many of those you tear out of his back, or he will get mad and he will violently shake. So sorry, big boy. I promise I'll make it up to you very soon. It'll be okay. We pop back out over here. We can see that our scavenging thing has disappeared off the map, but they are still working on it. They will still progress that scavenging, but you just can't see it anymore. All right, and they are back, and they came back with 22 bread. That's actually not a bad deal at all. So as soon as it's up, we want to immediately send them out on another mission. It's looking like I could use some timber, so we're going to send that party to the forest. Once we have a few extra people, I will build a second scavenger hut. I like to have at least 2 of them going so I can have people going constantly. You never want to have your scavenger parties idle. You want to have them going constantly. So we've unlocked the Hornblower, but at the moment, I wouldn't waste the time or the material on it. Onbu does not trust us. He doesn't really like us. So the Hornblower is not going to do anything for us at the moment at all. He's just going to ignore us, basically. So don't spend early game, don't worry about the Hornblower. Not until you know that you can gain his trust a little bit by petting him a few times and feeding him or something later on as well. Until then, don't fool the Hornblower. Just save your material for more important things like the kitchen and some other buildings that you're going to be needing here soon. So I've got people out doing expeditions. We're gathering resources still to build the kitchen, but Onbu has found a mushroom patch. And so Onbu is feeding himself right now on some fresh mushrooms, and that is helping his hunger go down rather quickly. Fresh food is really important for Onbu. Later on, you'll be able to grow and feed him mushrooms yourself, which also helps with his trust in you. But finding these mushroom patches are really, really good because that means he'll just go in and eat himself and you don't have to worry about it. Zooming back in here, I have assigned a couple more people to the Stonecutter and the Carpenter so I can hurry up and get that kitchen up and running because I want to get some food coming in, and we'll talk about food, and that'll probably conclude this episode once we talk about food a little bit here. All right, on the main map here, we have come across an actual settlement. Not a ruined settlement, but a real settlement. So I want to go ahead and send a party over there because that's going to have some people in it. And between that and these nomads, it's going to give us a healthy addition to our population for the city right here. So that's really, really good find, actually. All right, so the kitchen has been built. The kitchen is an awesome, awesome building. What I'm going to do is I'm going to decrease the number of people over here because I want to put everybody to work over in this kitchen. Now, the kitchen processes food. So we can make berry muesli beet soup right now. Later on, as you research more stuff such as corn, tomatoes, and wheat, you can make more stuff. What you make is going to be kind of dependent on how much different types of food you have. We've got some berries. We've got some beets. We're going to use the beets because the beets are an easy resource that we're getting a decent amount of right now. So they're going to take 3 beets and turn that into 5 beet soup. And here's where the balance kind of starts coming in, where you have to start balancing things. You have to kind of see if 3 people working at this right here, which is telling me I don't have enough people. Oh, there's some nomads. Actually, yes, that would be exactly what I would like. Thank you. 3 healthy people have joined the settlement. Good. That gives me 2 extras. I'm going to go ahead and assign 2 more to the farm. I'm going to go ahead and expand that farm out. Food is just so important. We're going to expand that out and get some more farms going. What I have found is a full farm with 5 people in it seems to be able to support possibly 2 kitchens. Again, it's an early access preview. These numbers may change, but it seems that I can support about 2 kitchens with 1 full farm. So later on, I will build another kitchen. But for right now, I would rather just oversupply beets. That way I have plenty of food coming in. Since we are over 20 population, we have also increased to a camp now. And as you can see, we have more needs. Now people demand a food quality of 2 and a housing quality of 1 still. We do have more people that have moved in, so we do need to increase our tents. So we're going to get 2 more tents built for that, and that will take care of the housing quality problem. And then the food quality is going to be resolved by giving them the beet soup. Food quality is from better types of food. Processed food gives you better food quality, essentially, than raw food does. So we're going to let them start processing the beets into soup. And that right there will help the food quality, and we'll get back up. We should actually get up right over 100%. We take a look on the main menu here, or the world map rather. We're almost done scavenging that, and we should get some more nomads from that as well. So to finish off this episode, we're just going to talk briefly about the food right here. As you can see, it shows that we have 20 processed food in storage, 82 raw food for a total food of 102. We have consumed 32 food in the last 24 hours and produced 47. These numbers will fluctuate quite rapidly sometimes, so just keep an eye on it. And you can see that we have a surplus of 15, so we are making more food than we currently need. That's good. You don't want that to be in the negative. Now, ideally, you want as little raw food as possible in storage, and most of it being processed food. Now, those numbers are subject to change, you know, as the game launches and stuff like that. But for right now, you know, 1 full farm, 1 kitchen, and a berry farm at 70% or more seems to do fairly well. Once I have more people, I will build another kitchen and turn on the berry muesli. I don't know what that word is. We'll turn on the berry soup, basically, and I'll process the raw berries into berry soup. And that's just going to further increase our food quality and help our people out a little bit more. All right, so we discovered that settlement, and we actually got 2 hungry people, so they're going to want to have some good food immediately. It's not a problem. We've got plenty of food, so we are accepting them. I'm going to send these guys to the mine real quick. That way I can hopefully get some iron ore out of that. And with that, guys, I think we are going to call it an episode here. That's the basics of kind of just getting your initial settlement up and running. We've got food coming in. We've got housing for everybody. We've got a scavenger post going, and we have our research going to hopefully get Onbu a little happier with us as soon as possible. So, I hope you have enjoyed our initial look at the Wandering Village. Part 2 will be out very soon as well, and we will continue building our village up and expanding from there. So with that, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this little first look video, be sure to leave a like and a comment down below. If you are new to my channel, feel free to subscribe for more city builder content from me. I cover lots of different city builder type games, survival games, and everything on the channel, so feel free to give it a look. Take care, guys. I will see you soon.